That was he was playing in Sentimentals before we started casting at the end of 2019. He was playing in the beginning. But here we go. We have our next series. We have our quarterfinals match. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ghost River, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the American Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Maturino Esports. It is StarKiller. Here we go. Our TvZ is upon us, and once again, StarKiller going for a 15 or an extractor trick into a hatchery. Okay. Is going for the hatchery on the low ground. Meanwhile, at the same time, ByuN is setting up his own low ground with not just one Rax, but I imagine a second Rax as well. So it's going to be 2 Rax Reaper here out of ByuN, a very aggressive opener and designed to test the skill, to test the early game prowess of the Zerg. Oh boy. Here we go. It is going to be a hatch pool opener out of StarKiller. That does mean that we have access to faster lings and faster queens. That is going to be a little bit more ideal to defend against this early game aggression. And we'll see if StarKiller can minimize his losses, as the Overlord is about to confirm the opener of choice. With this Overlord Scout, we will get eyes on the initial Rax Reaper production, and StarKiller can prepare mentally, even physically as well, for what is to come, as Reaper production has begun. Now, for those that are curious, this opener is not all in. This is just a way to get economic damage done, to deny the third base, and contain the Zerg for as long as possible. It's not meant to kill workers, but it can. There's potential, definitely. There is potential, and we're going to be putting StarKiller's micro to the test. His control. As Reapers are on the way. Back at home, we have our queens in production. Again, the queens are earlier because of the earlier spawning pool, because of the delayed gas. I say the delayed gas, no gases at all. This is a gasless opener here out of StarKiller. Queens are amassing. Reaper has arrived. And we do need a little bit more time here for the queens. Oh, yeah, the queens, they need more time. The drones are under fire. Aye, we do force out a spore. More drones, they do take some hits, but the queen does make it out. And will force ByuN back. Initially, ByuN has to pull back, but he's already dealing damage. He's forcing all these drones to be stuck in the main. And we're going double gas. Oh my god. That I was not expecting. We are going to be staying on one base economy here. Going for both gas geysers. Reapers dive into the main. Queen taking some hits. Queen does take some damage. ByuN pulling back and very quickly transitioning out of this. I think he should have made 3. No, never mind. ByuN, he cuts Reaper production at 2. Very early switch here out of ByuN. Usually we make 3 Reapers just to contain, but ByuN has recognized that this is not a standard build, and he has to get the hell off of Reapers and into Stim. Yeah, bunker outside of the wall. This is the standard ByuN response to aggression, where the reason why the bunker is outside on the right-hand side of the wall is to protect the add-ons. This does mean that the add-ons are going to be safer. The bunker is more exposed, but once ByuN realizes, or once he sees aggression, he should pre-pull the boys, have them ready to repair and to defend. Now we can see StarKiller is going into a fast lair. This could even be 2-base Muta. I'm not too fond of 2-base Muta here just because of the heavy marine count that we're working with. Like we have Stim, combat shields, like we have a mass amount of bio here. ByuN, bearing in mind that he did skip his 3rd TC, instead of going for a 3cc 211, he's going for 3 racks. He's going for a 3 racks. This will hit very hard with Stim. So the way this works, there's kind of a lot going on, so I do apologize. There's a lot going on right now. So basically this 3 racks build, it's a Stim timing. Stim and combat shields, once they finish up, we're going to be moving out across the map. And you can see the army is already moving out. Stim will finish by the time the rings get across the map, and we have to make every Stim count. There's no medevacs. No medevacs to support this, so the army is going to be killing itself with every single Stim, but there's so much DPS available, and StarKiller, we're not ready. We have 2 queens, we have no defense, no lings, no roaches. The roach warren is done, but the army has arrived. We're knocking down that front door. We go for the Stim, and we focus on one. We focus on both queens. There's only 2 queens left, and it looks like ByuN has far too much. The 3x timing snowballs out of control. GG, well played, and ByuN takes game number 1. GG. A very, very strong timing there by ByuN, punishing the greed of StarKiller. And we didn't really get to talk about what StarKiller was doing, but he was getting into his own two-base play, getting into two-base Roach. So we're getting into game 2, but yeah, he was getting into a unique variation of two-base Roach play as he was droning up and walling off. Unfortunately, StarKiller did not see the third rack, so StarKiller was unaware of the stim timing that was coming out. That's why StarKiller was caught out. That's why StarKiller had nothing to defend, because he had no idea that there was such an aggressive timing on the horizon. So StarKiller was caught with his pants down, and now we're getting into game 2. We'll see what ByuN has to offer here in that second game. We shall see. And here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing Shopify Rebellion, leading the series 1-0. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the American Zerg player, the Teal Zerg, representing Matcherino Esports. It is starkiller. A very, very chaotic game number 1 there, as ByuN went 2-rack Reaper into the 3 racks follow-up. And this time, we are not going for the low ground. This time, there's no low ground 2-rack Reaper. This time, ByuN is going for a standard opener. What does this mean? This means starkiller is going to have a much more comfortable start to the game, is going to be able to get into his 3rd hatchery on time, and get a little bit more comfortable. Just settle into his own build of choice. So we're going to be calming things down here in game number 2, and we could see more of a back and forth. Once again, is a hatch pool opener out of starkiller, going for delayed gases. Honestly, this looks like the same opener as game 1. This could be I say that, much earlier gases time. Much earlier gases time, so it is going to be a slight variation. I'm curious what direction starkiller does take us in. Show us what you got. Show us what you got. Not going to be moving out. And for now, we can see ByuN just going for the Reaper first, is going to be expanding on the low ground, getting to his Marine follow-up, and yeah, everything is looking as it should be. We're just calming things down, and we're just settling into a more standard game setup. Reaper moves out to scout across the map, to dance with the army. starkiller does skirt around with some lings, does avoid the initial Reaper. Does avoid the Reaper, Reaper gets into the natural, drone's under fire. Up! Oh, the drone getting low, but we do save it. The drone is saved, the Reaper forced back, and we do defend. At the same time, lings, they do move out. They're going for the CC. They go for the command center. And they will get on top of the worker, but there is a Marine on the low ground. We will defend. We will clean this up. Get the first link. Up! Oh, the SCV gets low! And the SCV will fall. Not a bad pick-off here. starkiller does delay the expansion. And back at home, we're rushing to a lair. We skip link speed, fast lair. It looks like Roach play once again. Speaking of it, there's that Roach Warren at the natural. Now, ByuN does confirm that there is no expansion. There should be a third, and there isn't. And we even get eyes on the Roach Warren itself. So ByuN is fully aware of what's going on, is aware of the Roach aggression. The Reaper does bypass the Queen. And we slip into the middle. Oh my god, we almost get surrounded. Casito. Casito, man. The Queen does intercept. We shut down the Reaper at least, but ByuN has seen everything he needs to. He has confirmed the Roach Warren timing. He has confirmed lack of third base. He didn't get eyes on the lair, but is aware of the aggression nonetheless. As Helens are moving out to get additional scouting information. Behind this, we should be working towards a 1-1-1. That's exactly what we have. Very safe play here out of ByuN. What I'm referring to, usually we would see a third command center, but we delay the third base in favor of Banshee production. And Banshees, they shut down Roach aggression so hard.
SCV ready.
As Roaches don't shoot up. They do not shoot up. Hellions have arrived. They get eyes on the timing of the third base. They confirm that we're at least expanding. But if there were ever to be a move out, ByuN will be here to spot it. That is the problem. As ByuN, I believe he saw the researching Roach Warren as well. If he didn't before, now he does. He does confirm the wiggly and jiggly of that Roach Warren. Is aware. We do bleed out a Hellion, but for the most part, we just have to maintain map control and map vision. You can see here that StarKiller is not droning. StarKiller, he's cutting workers at 36. He has not taken the gas at his main. He's not taken the gas at his natural. He hasn't even fully saturated his main base either, as we're 14 out of 16. And StarKiller is massing roaches and going for the all-in. Moving out with the all-in, the Banshee is being active. And the Hellions missed the move-out. Uh-oh. There we go. We do barely catch the tail end of the move-out. Banshee doesn't turn around, but we do have a full wall-off back at home. A second Banshee's on the way, and the first one will hit the main. And there's no spore. There's no spore. There's no detection. The Banshee's going to wreak havoc in the main base. Drones are going down, and StarKiller is completely all-in. One way or another, the game is about to end. The repairs are on point. The bunker stands strong. Yeah, the bunker does not go down, and the Banshee, as we mentioned before, shuts down the roach aggression. They don't shoot up. We get free damage and good damage on the roaches. Roaches, they come back in. They're going for the worker damage. They get 3 SCVs. But they're denied entry to the main. The depot is going to go down. And we are getting SCV damage at the same time across the map. Banshee's still wreaking havoc. Ooh. That's going to be 11 SCVs going down. We deny Stim. We do deny Stim. Not bad. Stim is denied. More SCVs falling. StarKiller. We're doing so much damage. And can we do it? Can we pull this off? Can we force the ace match? Can we shut ByuN down? As so many workers are falling. Again, these roaches will eventually be cleaned up, but we made the choice. We made the choice not to move out with that Banshee, not to come back home with the first Banshee. As a result, ByuN, he is down to 10 SCVs. 10 workers left, but we have mules. As you can see here, we have mules in the main base. We have triple orbital. StarKiller has been heavily droning up, and that Banshee harass wasn't worth it. How many drones did we get? 10. 10 drones. Again, that first Banshee, if it was back at home, if we had 2 Banshees to defend instead of 1, it would have been a much cleaner defense. A much cleaner defense there. I mean, the Banshee is still wreaking havoc, sure, but again, we need more done. Yeah, we have spores in every single base, every single mineral line. Another drone goes down, but ByuN has a lot of catching up to do. We have to mule as hard as possible. Because of that, I would not be opposed to burrow and tunneling claws, to be honest. Like, I would love to see that, just to abuse the fact that ByuN is so heavily reliant on on mules and wouldn't be able to scan. As I say that, instead we're going Roach Hydra. Interesting. That I was not expecting. We have 1-1 on the way, Hydra Den as well for the Roach Hydra. Hydras are amassing, we're getting up to 3-way saturation, and ByuN is in trouble. ByuN does have 2 tanks and a wall, true. Breaking this position is not going to be easy, but StarKiller doesn't need to. I'm hoping we don't go for the all-in. Like, StarKiller can double expand. We can double expand, throw down infestation bit, work towards hive tech, drone up to 80 workers. Like, right now, StarKiller has so much freedom, and there's no need to push into this, right? Like, ByuN, the way to come back for ByuN is to have StarKiller overextend. If StarKiller overextends into this position within 2 tank, the double tank fire, within range of the bunker as well, and we repair, we hold the line, and StarKiller bleeds off like 20 supply, like, that's the ideal for ByuN. As ByuN is now slowly expanding, taking a 3rd base. And StarKiller is droning somewhat. Again, I would have loved to see the double expands. Banshees are in position. Able to pick away the workers. Able to pick away those drones. We got 5 drone kills. As ByuN does rotate between the bases. Now, what's scary here is that ByuN is slowly catching up. Now with a 3rd base, now with, again, additional mule production, of course, ByuN is slowly catching up here, and that window, that lead that StarKiller has, it's still there, don't get me wrong, but we're still making Hydras. So what I would have loved to have seen from StarKiller is drone. Like, just drone. Like, we don't need to make units right now. Just drone up and get up to 80 workers, take another base, tech up as well. StarKiller is now droning, but not before making all these Hydras. So we spent a lot of resources on Hydras that isn't really useful at the moment. It isn't being used for anything other than defending against the Banshees, but we don't need this many Hydras for that. And Hydras are moving out. No Ling Bane, just Hydra. He's gonna run into the main army. Okay, ByuN does spot the Hydra move out. Is gonna pull back. StarKiller doesn't want to fight within tank range. StarKiller pushing, going to be threatening a move out towards that third base. Rotates around, 4 CCs on the way. We have a 4th tank sieging up. And can we cancel the 4th? Yeah, big tank volleys going up. The first tank goes down. We have 3 more in the back line. There's a cancel on the CC. And we're going for the 3rd base. Again, the tank's a little bit too far back. And we deny mining. We deny mining. StarKiller still on 3-base saturation. Still has not droned up too much. We bleed out more Hydras. Bleeding out a lot of Hydras, actually. Hydras are going down. StarKiller trying to force the CC to lift once again. Additional Hydras have arrived. Tank is sieging up. And the tank does push forward, but the Marines are running out of Marines. We're running out of buffer. StarKiller, can we break through? We cannot. We're going to lose every single Hydra here. The Hydras are going down. We do get into the middle line. We get 4 SCVs, 5 SCV kills. But this was an expensive trade. StarKiller is still not backing up. Gets 9 worker kills. And was this worth it in the end? Now, what did we get? We got 3 tanks, right? Yeah, we got 3 tank kills. We got both Banshees and 43 Marines. That was a good amount of Marines. But you can see here, so much gas. So much gas down the drain. That was almost 3,000 gas for StarKiller. That was an expensive army. That was 45 Hydras. That was almost a 1-to-1 trade, Hydra for Marine. These are trades that ByuN can afford, that StarKiller could not. And now StarKiller's droning. StarKiller, he was on 66 workers for most of that fight, and now he's droning up, now he's taking another base, and this is what I was concerned about. This 4th and these drones and this hive could have been thrown down earlier. StarKiller tried to go for the kill, and ByuN survived. Now, what I will say, StarKiller's still ahead. He's still ahead, he still has a lead, but losing all those Hydras didn't help. So I'm still concerned because we're going Mass Hydra. Now, Mass Hydra is vulnerable. If we head towards Lurker tech, that's a different story. Like, Hydra Lurker is much more robust, or Ling Bane Hydra is more robust. But no Ling speed, we have 2-2. Hive is almost done. We should have seen the Lurker Den by now. Looks like the Hive is just going to be for Hydra upgrades. And it could just be Hydra Viper, I would imagine. Oh boy. Which is a unique composition. ByuN dropping into the natural, stimming into the mineral line. We get 2 workers and a gas geyser. Some okay damage. StarKiller does defend. As we do drop here towards the bottom. Getting more gases. We do get more gases. The pickup is clutch. We do get away. The gas still survive. And yep, it is going to be Mass Hydra Viper. Bold composition. I would love to see a Lurker Den. Hydra Viper is okay. It doesn't scale amazingly into the late game, but in the mid game, Hydra Viper has a lot of DPS, has a lot of damage potential, is expensive, but again, a lot of firepower here in Hydra Viper. It's very Miyamika-esque. The problem is the tank line. If we're going for Mass Hydra, tanks are ideal. Now the Vipers, that's where the Vipers come into play, right? The Vipers with their blinding clouds and with their abductions, the goal for the Vipers is to shut down these tanks and allow the Hydras to break through. But it all comes down to the Viper control at the end of the day. It's like we do shut down one of those drops. ByuN is stabilizing. The reality is that ByuN, he's now on 4 bases. He's on a 4cc setup. He's got a solid army. This could go either way. Now, I want to give the edge to StarKiller until Ghosts arrive, right? Like, what's the answer to the tanks of ByuN? The Vipers. What's the answer to the Vipers? The Ghosts. With EMPs, with snipes, Ghosts are going to be the big power spike for ByuN. Until then, StarKiller has potential. StarKiller has a lot of potential. Is moving out. The ByuN army a bit out of position. We just him in just in time. Yeah, massive tank volleys going off. Vipers, they come into play. They throw down the blinding clouds on the ByuN. There we go. And on some of the tanks. But the tank line here is insane. We pull back to more and more tanks. And the Hydras, they melt as they break through. Yeah, the Hydra count is going to be completely reset. We lose every single Hydra. Fighting into tanks like this is not going to work. Not with pure Hydra. At the same time, we drop across the map. We shut down the base. We spoke about it. The only way to break the siege line was with Vipers, and we didn't have enough blinding clouds. We needed more blinding clouds, more abductions. It was not good enough. And with that, ByuN takes a massive trade, a massive win, a massive fight. Takes down the base at the same time. The drop does escape. And now ByuN is ahead economically. ByuN has 82 workers plus mules, so ByuN has the economic lead. And StarKiller is still committed to Hydra Viper. Now, I believe the Vipers were saved. Yes, the Vipers were preserved. Most of them were. But we spoke about this. We spoke about how Hydra Viper is okay in the mid game, but it doesn't scale well into the late game. We spoke about how the big power spike for ByuN was going to be Ghosts. Well, the Ghosts, they've arrived. The Ghosts are now in the mix. And now the Vipers will not have as much free reign. And ByuN, he's done the impossible here. ByuN was down to 10 workers. He was down to 10 SCVs. But we spoke about it. Instead of StarKiller taking his lead and extending it and getting further ahead, he committed into a 3-base push. If you remember earlier, that was the attack at the 3rd base where StarKiller cut workers at 3-base saturation. And then went towards, this follow-up timing as well. And at that point, Hydra Viper had just fallen off. And now we're trying to work towards Ling Bane. This is a late transition. The downside of this Ling Bane is that we have +1 melee, so our upgrades are not ideal. And ByuN is outscaling StarKiller at the moment. Like, StarKiller, he's just stuck with a subpar army. Is going to try to collapse in. Snipes going up. God, massive tank volleys here on the... Oh my god, the Hydras! Hydras are melting. The snipes are going off as well. Every single Hydra goes down. Again, Hydras are... We spoke about this in the TvZ earlier. Hydras are not a core unit. Hydras are a supportive unit. If we're going mass Hydra, it thrives when we go for an all-in, right? Like a 3-base all-in, you know, that's when Hydras work well. Otherwise, Hydras they're just soon-to-be lurkers. And there's no lurkers, Papi. There's no lurker there. Oh, no. The lunkers are not here. ByuN breaking out, shuts down the creep. Moving on across the map. And StarKiller, he's up against the wall. He's in a lot of trouble. And the Vipers, they didn't come into play early. I didn't even point that out. The fact that StarKiller dove in, but the Vipers, the blinding clouds were not there. Snipes, they shut down the Hydras. Vipers coming in, they blinding cloud the ByuN. But it doesn't matter. Ghosts, they don't care about your blinding clouds. They snipe through it. The hatchery will fall. And StarKiller, the edge, the advantage that he once had in this game is not there. Not anymore. Hatchery crumbles, the boys were saved, the drones they were pulled away, thankfully. And yeah, StarKiller just stuck with his Hydras. We have Adrenal on the way for the Lings. We have Bailing Speed on the way as well, but again, it's all just too little too late here. It was a good effort. Definitely for StarKiller. It was impressive. The amount of damage that he dealt with the Roaches was insane, but GG, well played. Good luck gets called, and ByuN will take the series 2-0, advancing on to the semifinals. GG. GG, well played. A shout out to StarKiller because he popped off and he straight up almost took the game. Like, there's a world out there. There is a world out there where StarKiller forces the ace match against StarKiller had a massive lead. Looking at the graphs, we don't often do this, but this is the economic graph. StarKiller is the teal player. The teal player, ByuN is the blue player instead, and you saw the massive economic lead that StarKiller had. Likewise, the army supplies as well. You can see the big power spikes with the initial Roach push, followed by the 3-base Hydra push, followed by the maxed out Hydra push as well. But again, we spoke about it. It was a very all-in style, very committed playstyle here out of StarKiller. And we had the option, after getting ahead with the first Roach push, we had the option to get further ahead. We opted to go for the all-in, and the all-in failed. Yeah, that's how all-ins go. If they don't kill your opponents, then you're in a rough position. And ByuN was able to trade so efficiently. ByuN identified the Mass Hydra, he responded with Mass Tank, and he did shut down his opponent. GG, well played. ByuN bounces back. Does bounce back, and with that, we're getting ready for our next series. We're getting ready for... Oh, we're getting ready for game number 2. We're jumping in! Okay, ByuN, he's waiting in the semifinals for his next opponent, and we are jumping into our next series here. We're jumping into our PvZ between Australia and Sort of. We're jumping into game 2.